Meet Thomas. 6 months ago, he was a completely brand new Amazon seller with no experience. And now he's been able to quit his 9 to 5 job and is making over $9,000 a month in profit. In this video, we're going to go into his story, how he got started, and everything you need to know to build a successful Amazon business in 2024 with Q4 right around the corner. Let's jump right into the interview with Thomas. Sweet. What's up, Thomas? Good to have you on the channel today, man.
Hey Miles, how are you? How you doing?
Great. Yeah. Super excited, bro. Getting out of back to school. I think you said it was right around $9,000 in profit for August.
Yes, sir. Just over, just over.
And the cool part is that was the first time eclipsing your previous 9 to 5 salary, which you aren't doing anymore, basically, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was a big number for me. It's been my first goal is to wanted to make a mark there and replace the 9 to 5 income, eclipse it.
Yeah, and that's the nice part about selling on Amazon is that I think a lot of people like want to quit their job too soon, essentially. Like some people have awesome, part-time Amazon business as well, like you previously did. I know you're a young guy and you were really looking to, buckle down. I'm sure you'll be able to grow it from here as well. But you want to just kind of take us back to 6 months ago when you were, just getting started. Like what made you get interested in selling on Amazon? How'd you initially find out about it?
Yeah, so I initially found out about it through Money Twitter. Through I think I found your account. I found Billy Flip's account. Watched some videos. I thought it was super interesting. My little brother was looking into it too. So I wanted something that was location independent because I knew I was about to move. I was going to quit. I hated my job. Hated that. Wanted to leave Chicago. Didn't like that. Want to go back to Minnesota. Turns out there's no sales tax in Minnesota for clothing and things, so it's good for Amazon anyway. So a lot of things lined up for me to go all in on this business model.
Yeah, and we always joke around about Minnesota being like the number one per capita most successful state for Amazon sellers to come from. We joke around like South Florida, Pennsylvania, Oregon being another one of those as well. And then obviously states like Delaware and New Hampshire where there's no sales tax on anything, you're at a big advantage as well. And then so you learn about it in like the early New Year's, and so your brother's an Amazon seller as well, but you guys do separate accounts, right?
Yeah, separate accounts. We didn't want to combine. We share a bunch of the same products, but I'm like, we can just. I think it's too complicated to split an account. I would definitely do different ones.
Yeah, and you were just getting going at different times. You got to obviously just make sure you keep up with Amazon's rules basically as well. So, what did it look like initially getting your first sales? Because going from zero to your first couple sales, and even just your first couple sales to consistently getting sales every day, that's typically the hardest part for people. So, what did that look like?
Yeah, it was crazy. So my little brother had been selling for like a month or so. He had very little capital, but he had a couple good products. So he hit me up with I was working remotely and he's like, bro, this just went on sale. These went in restock. Buy it now. So I spent like 2 grand or something on it was some Nike clothing. And that led me getting, I think, 1,000 in sales my first week, which I think I hit you up about. I came into one of the live calls and you're like, dude, you just texted me. How'd you get 1,000 sales? Like, what happened? I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
my brother gave them to me, but there's importance in networking right there. After that, it was kind of tough, but just trying a bunch of different products, FBM was just learning what's good.
Yeah, and the key is that a lot of the traditional advice is like only do FBA, start with a ton of capital, right? And if you're going to do only FBA, you have to buy typically more product and you get slower results essentially because you don't get as quick feedback. Meanwhile, with Merch Filled, like Thomas got started with, like I got started with, you can test really light, right? You can learn really quick and get feedback on different purchases, right? And in your case, you actually got started during the harder time of the year, the earlier half of the year, right? If you're getting started now in August and September, Q4 is right around the corner. So it's going to be significantly easier. And then, so what would you say was the moment when things really clicked? Like you obviously had a great first week, but then that's, a far cry from making 5, 6, 7, 8, 9K a month in profit, right? So what would you say is like the aha moment, if there was one?
Yeah. So the my first couple months, my mind was constantly blown. Like when I first started buying, I would buy onesie, twosie shoes and things like that. I remember my little brother and I were like in April or something like, dude, let's go deep. Let's get 5 of these. We're gonna get 5 shirts. We're like, that was crazy. Those never sold. The moment that clicked my mind is I think I went out, bought a product at an RA store, it was like a Marshalls or a Ross, and it sold at like 40 of them, and they sold out that day within 24 hours. I'm like, oh, okay, I finally found a product that sell 40, 50, 60 a day. Because I thought you needed like 1,000 products that sold like 10 a month or something. No, there are products that sell hundreds of times a day. You just need to find them.
Yeah, and I think that that model of like buying a ton of stuff super wide, low quantities makes a ton of sense when you're not the one sourcing them. Because if you have virtual assistants, right, that part's significantly easier right there. But if you're doing the sourcing yourself, naturally, you also tend to be a lot better at sourcing than virtual assistants, right? So you have to find stuff you can go deeper to justify putting the time into it. Basically, on the topic of going deep, you send a ridiculously big shipment. Yeah, that was yesterday you sent that out, right?
I think it was like a week ago or
A
something. I
week
got it.
ago. Cool.
Yeah.
Got you. So we'll pop it up on the screen here, basically. But I saw Thomas. I was like, holy crap. So how many boxes was that? And that's obviously not buying just a couple of stuff, man, right? That was a huge FBA shipment.
No, that was 63.
Boom. So how
63.
many units total is that then?
I think it was 3,500 units or something.
Boom. So life changes quick, man. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
go from being afraid of buying a couple, which is completely normal, by the way. And I do think is the right way to do it when you're a beginner
me
is
too.
test super light,
They were bad
reduce risk.
products.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right. And then over time, right, you get some proof of concept. You go through a back to school, or in your guys' case, watching this now, if you're a new seller, you go through a Q4 and you end up making, huge progress fast too. And so another thing, obviously, is you went from basically, I assume, probably an apartment in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, right? And then so moving home to Minnesota and then now actually getting a warehouse space too. So what was the mindset behind getting a warehouse space and why didn't you get a prep center? Why'd you go warehouse instead?
Yeah, I wanted to, get a warehouse went warehouse over prep center because I knew my cousin. It's sort of complicated.
It is a
My
very
cousin
it
is
is a we love Elijah though, and I'm sure he'll be watching this video. Yeah.
yeah, Elijah, was selling on Amazon too. Is another part of the reason I started is I saw him absolutely smash it Q4, like 3, 4 months in, do have a great Q4, go full time and keep absolutely just selling so much too. I'm like, okay, if he can do it, that's my cousin. I can work in the same warehouse as him. There's no
And
reason
it
I should be able to do
it
this too.
the key is you don't know him. You didn't know him super well. That was like
No,
the weird part there. Is it's like yeah. It's interesting context. I remember when you told me that I was like, holy crap. Yeah.
I just followed him on Twitter and was commenting on his posts, and then suddenly the same day, my little brother and him, they both like messaged me the same day, like Elijah DM me like, "Hey, no, this is weird, but I'm married to Rex's stepdaughter, like my aunt's stepdaughter." I was like, "What? No way!" At my same time, my brother's like, "Bro, Elijah is actually kind of our cousin." That was
Exactly, right? But what's that been like just kind of getting around like other Amazon sellers on a day-to-day basis? I always talk about doing it digitally. You've done a phenomenal job in person too, right? With Lucas, Elijah, obviously your brother, you're lucky to have that too. Like what's that been like being able to just get around other people on the mission?
Yeah, so online starting out was super important. I think it's super important to network with people when you're first starting, and in the future food, it's especially important when you're first selling. I had no context of what people were buying, how much they were doing, what they were doing every day, what do you do every day. So it's super useful to talk to people like my friend Sean. Like I met him through my other friend Ashad. Like they who I was just cold DMing people like, hey, you want to get on a call? Me and Ashad instantly clicked. Like he was a super
Shoot,
great
shoot.
guy.
Yeah, shout out to Shad, man. For sure. I just
Yeah.
met him in person for the first time recently, a couple times, past couple months.
Sick. Nice. Yeah, he's a great guy, but he like introduced me to his friend Sean. He's like, bro, remember that shoe you sent me? I bought like four. Sean bought like 150. So that like blew my mind about how deep people are going. And like it just adds context to what successful Amazon sellers are doing.
Yeah, naturally, because you're probably not going to find people at your job or that you previously know, like you luckily did, Thomas, right? That do Amazon, that do online business, right? So you have to go online and find those people, at least in my opinion. It's been a big thing I always preach here. And it's just a cool thing that, if you guys have watched a couple of these videos here, everyone that comes up, everyone that comes on the buy box ban, it's just like, yeah, like, I don't know. My friends and I like the products look good. We just buy them. And it is ridiculously more complicated than that, but the key is that when you're an experienced seller after 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, it does get a lot more simple naturally. Because when you're a newer seller, you have to learn to qualify products, different coupons for different websites, how to order them correctly, how to get them listed, how to ship them to Amazon, how to do customer service. But when you're an experienced seller like Thomas is at now, all you have to do is click buy on the product and everything else comes a little bit more second nature to you basically too. Gonna interrupt the video real quick and let you guys know that Q4 is fast approaching. And if you're looking to join my coaching program, now's the perfect time to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link down below in the description where you can go ahead and apply if you're interested in 3 group coaching calls a week, unparalleled one-on-one access to me. You'll have my personal phone number. I'll connect you with other Amazon sellers to build with. I'll plug you in on all my favorite coupons, tips, tricks, and strategies. And we'll also get together one-on-one on Zoom and source together. So if you're interested, take a look at that at the link in the description. Go ahead and apply. Back to the video with Thomas. So what was back to school like? Because obviously that's your first experience having like one of the big seasons. Q4, which is coming up for anyone who's unfamiliar, is October 1st to December 31st. It's the best time of the year when there's a ton of holidays going on. How are you preparing for Q4 and what'd you learn during back to school?
Yeah, so I learned um, for back to school, I obviously you and a bunch of other people were telling me some of the good back to school products. I learned I didn't take full advantage of that during back to school. My numbers didn't like double or anything or spike during back to school. That was partly because I ran out of capital and partly because I missed time buying some sort of things. But I learned there would be a massive spike in interest in um, anything that has to do with back to school, pencil cases, backpacks, things like that. And you can definitely I got a little practice this time. I know the move is online order to store pickup to in-store pickup. So I got to do a little bit of that during back to school, just sort of get the wheels moving. I'm going to be doing a lot more for Q4.
And it's significantly harder though when you hadn't been through one of the times though, right? You hadn't ever picked something up and sold at FBM the same day, right? You hadn't been able to experience what it looked like seasonally here. So just actually, because you kind of said you didn't go as like do as well during back to school as you wanted to, like break down kind of what you learned and what you're going to do differently this Q4 for anyone who's going into their first one.
Yeah, I want to talk to Elijah and like other sellers who have more experience and sort of um, game plan it out more. I just kind of went into it. Oh, I
Well,
think
what
this
other
will.
choice did you have? You're a new, yeah, you know, it's your
That's
first time
true,
doing
but
it.
like
That's exactly how I feel about my first time too.
I could leverage, like, I know people who have been through it before, and I should reach out to them and say, hey, what should I do? What's the move? When should, like, cutoff dates, strategies, things like that, and ask around, like, what would you have done differently your first time?
Yeah, and if anyone's curious, just kind of on the whole breakdown of Q4, guys, I have a full Q4 video I posted. I'm gonna have some more stuff coming for you guys soon, too, as well. So obviously, product research is by far the hardest part of doing this. It's like all the results come to the people who can, get good at product research. So obviously, what we're doing is we're finding good products on big retail websites and making them profitable. What's some specific product research stuff you've used that's been super effective that maybe you didn't think about when you were coming into it, or that you've adopted over time that's made a big difference?
I think going all so using Keepa and SellerAmp to just go all in on storefront stocking. That's all I do now. It's just storefront stock. People carry the best brands. They carry the best products. They're waiting for you out there. You just need to get through enough storefronts to get them. And then once you find the good storefronts that have the good brands, I like to bounce back and forth between like using Keepa to go through every good listing on a brand, and then once you find a good product that's a weird brand you've never seen before, that's great. Look up that brand. Find there's going to be more products in that brand, and then once you find another one, back to the storefront and go back and forth.
I think it's really underrated to the idea of looking up adjacent products or just looking at like the Amazon recommended that's like under the product as
Yeah.
well, typically under the Keep a chart. Too, because if you think about it, right, if like say for example, like Carter's, the clothing brand's doing well or whatever, right? There's tons of examples of brands that do well, right? And then it's just looking at okay, those are clearly validated products. The sellers that carry those products are going to have other stuff as well. So obviously, I was talking to Elijah about this when we did our podcast with him too. But you're pretty much just online and retail arbitrage right now, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, no wholesale yet. No.
And what's the thought process on not having done that, right? Because obviously you're probably just super busy with O again, going with that. But back in the day, man, no one used to think you could do more than what you're doing, or even what you're doing, just with online arbitrage specifically.
Okay. I didn't know that. I would say, okay, everybody says they want to add wholesale to their business. I was talking with Eli a little bit about it. Like, you just want to add it in bits. Don't want to transition completely to wholesale. I have momentum going OA. I don't feel like I've hit a cap with OA. And people like Jeff Senza and Sam FBA show that you can get to 300, $400 million months with just OA. You don't need wholesale. That being said, I'd like to add it in. I think it's a good component to add into your business. That's it. I haven't tried it yet. So that's the plan, to add in wholesale going forward. But I'm still doing 60K with OA. I can keep doing 60K with OA and even more in the future.
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense, especially with where you're at right now, just to keep going full speed ahead with OA. And then once we're in January, when OA slows down immensely, right, then it makes sense to start to mix some of that stuff in too. So as you've been growing up the business, the past 6 months or so, still being a really, really new seller, what are some mistakes you made in the process?
Um, definitely, uh, I don't feel like oh, so start off with FBM. FBMing first is important. But then once I didn't, this is a little weird, but I didn't transition to FBA quick enough. Once you find a good product, it'll sell more FBA. So there was a while there, I was just only doing FBM. That's super important. But then eventually, like, start doing FBA. Like, it was like I didn't add in doing FBA until like July or something. Like, should test products FBM, but then add it more FBA.
Yeah, because you're gonna get a lot more scale. Stuff's gonna sell quicker, so therefore you can buy more of it too, even if you have to wait for check-in times. But once you're good at buying, you don't really have to worry about like kind of validating stuff initially, so you can go heavier. However, in my opinion, right, you only wanna like you increase your purchase quantities just proportionally from test orders, right? As you get proof of concept, like holy crap, that did way better than I expected
Right.
and everything, right? So you pick up on that over time too. So it's pretty cool how you've been able to go. Like, what was your career prior to selling Amazon?
I graduated college in 2023, and I went to a super boring management job in Chicago.
Got
Paid
you.
pretty well, but I did not like it at all. I had
Yeah, I
no.
was gonna say like nine k a month. That definitely wasn't bad for being a recent graduate and everything. But the cool thing is, in this case, you've been able to put in a ton of really hard work. So now you don't have to do that, right? As long as you continue to do what you do. And with Amazon, it's more scalable too. In that if you keep working hard, staying consistently, working with the boys, you're gonna be able to grow far beyond that too. If really get after it as well. So if you could go back 6 months or even like to January when you haven't even started yet and you could tell yourself stuff that you think would help, a lot quicker. What are you telling, younger Thomas or any new sellers who are in your DMs right now on Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, it's way more simple than you think. There's like all the advice is to lead you to a track. Once you get in the track of thinking of product research or finding the right brands, it's way more simple than you think to scale up. It's just I think like the 90% of the anguish I was feeling like feeling really bad or lost is because you think it's unknown, it's invisible. You don't know what the right things are to do. That's why you talk to other people. That's why you talk to experienced sellers because they know what to do and they'll tell you exactly what to do. And it's just actually doing it and getting good at it.
Yeah.
There's no super huge secret or anything.
Oh, zero. It's just doing the work, right? And the key is we can all agree what a good keep chart looks like, right? We
Right.
can all agree what a fast selling product looks like, right? The money is in the details of knowing how to discount different websites and having cool people to work with on the stuff too, like you've done a great job of. And then eventually just, consistently aggregating the right information, waking up every day and working on hard. And then so you've done a great job of just building your following on Twitter too. That's why I saw that, that gigantic picture of boxes right there, man. Where can people follow you on Twitter?
Oh, sure. It's at TRohlader, TROHLADER on Twitter.
Cool. And the cool thing is you can see Thomas's entire journey, the entire thing. Like when did you start posting on Twitter every day?
Oh man, I think it was April,
Yeah,
maybe
pretty quick.
mid-April. I saw a
Yeah,
post in
exactly.
school one day, like if you need to do the 90-day video thing, or you're gonna like you need to do that. I'm like, okay, if I really want to succeed at this, I'm gonna do everything that you say. So I did.
Yeah. Well, and obviously that's not necessarily necessary, but it does really help, getting around other people on the mission. So cool. Appreciate you coming on, Thomas. What do you think is a good profit target for December specifically?
December, I want to do 50K profit. I think I was
Got you.
shooting
So
for
what you got to do
50K.
is you got to take your average profit per unit, increase it by 20% on average about, right? Maybe 30%, right? And then divide 50K by that. Then you know how many units you got to sell. And now you know exactly what you need to do right there. And that goes for any of you guys watching this. Hope this video was helpful. If you're looking for more personalized one-on-one help, go ahead and take a look at the link in the description and apply for my coaching program. Make sure to follow Thomas on Twitter. Let me know any questions. Check out my full free course right here. And I'll see you guys in the next one.